Sooners of Oklahoma at 12-0 and still looking for respect nationwide.
What's going on, Sooner Nation? I appreciate you guys for plugging in. Obviously, the Monday after OU Texas, and for the second year in a row, I am required to wear this ugly ass orange OU hat. I will never wear Texas anything, but I did commit to wearing this thing after our game Saturday. But anyway, one just quickly say, number one, Barry and I will be doing the post-game pod either tonight or tomorrow. I came into Dallas for the game and we couldn't connect on Saturday after the game. I think he was camping or something. And then yesterday my family pulled me to the fair and we did all that, all the other stuff. And so anyway, let's just dive into it. What I'll do is I'll try to keep this to 30 to 45 minutes and then we'll do some Q&A. I got some stuff on Twitter, people asking questions. And if you guys have questions in the comments, I'll take a peek at those if I have time as well. And if you've been on OU Insider, I posted a couple of different things. If you're on my Twitter, you saw what I said on Saturday. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, and I'm actually going to do 10 thoughts a little different today, just because I think it's pertinent to do. More importantly, I have one really large concern, and those of you who listen to our pod, I know most of the people here on YouTube are listeners, so I appreciate you guys. You guys have heard me say it, and initially indirectly, right? And then I think even probably the Temple game, really just caution and concern. But I spoke to it a lot, even Kent State. And it reared its ugly head again on Saturday. I believe it is the primary in-season issue we currently have. All right. I do want to speak to offensive line has been a deficit for 3 seasons. I would just say as a unit, as a group, in terms of what our offensive line is attempting to do since Levy left. I haven't had a really good answer. Just to be very, what I'm saying? I want to park that there because I don't want to spend today talking about something we've known for 2 years. The running back rotation and even the lack of game-breaking ability has been a concern of mine. If you've listened to our pod, which again, I'm on YouTube, so I know you guys are our listeners. You guys know I'm a huge Tawi guy. I was a huge Tawi guy when I didn't know who he was, when he was the walk-on with Barnes and Sawchuk, and I was like, that guy needs more carries. And of course, now we know he left to Whiskey and then has since gone on to Cincinnati. So again, I don't want to be redundant and going there, right? We've gone down that road, and that's not an in-season thing. Like, we are in the season. We got to play with the cards we were dealt. We got to roll with the players we have. The bigger issue that I have, my biggest cause for concern right now, and I am not going to really point that in the direction of Illy State, because Illy State, I felt like offensively, one, obviously extremely vanilla, but two, we saw some layered throws and some yak yards and receivers, high stepping into the end zone, which you're supposed to do, right? All of us were like, hey, it's Illy State, da 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 da. Then we played Michigan, because I think it's the best game we played all year. I think if we played Michigan this week, we may lose. And I know Michigan lost to SC. And we can go down that road. I think I have some thoughts about SC and Link and the style of offense he deploys and how that's an issue for Michigan versus the style of offense they deploy, right? So we can go down that road if we want to. But when we played Temple and we win comfortably, I think Arbuckle has a 60-yard run. I want to say Blaylock has, I think he has a 100-yard day and multiple TDs. I think he kind of has a run around the left edge where he beats everybody to the corner, 27-yard touchdown, maybe 24-yard touchdown, something of that nature. Again, the things you want to see your offense be able to do. We did see, however, in that game, I've been doing that all day today. Mateer missed some throws, meat on the bone. Michigan game, He was nuts. Granted, couple of his seam routes, if he puts more air onto those, so even some critiques there, but there wasn't a um, inability to be accurate. Michigan game, right? Temple, he just missed guys who were open. Cannon comes to mind. Keontae on an over route comes to mind, right? 20-yard throws that are going to be big plays, potentially even game-changing scoring plays. But you don't make all of them. You don't get all of them. But it's the same game where I asked Barry, and if you guys go back and listen, it's kind of an afterthought, but it's like, hey, Barry, what were we trying to do? Like, I get we were trying to get Blaylock kind of entrenched as a guy who we were going to be depending on. I get you don't want to give, Temple too much of what you're going to be doing and when you get to conference, right? But I'm kind of like, but then if you guys remember, I say, hey, well, next week we've got Auburn conference game, right? We're going to revert back to Michigan. We're not going to be as vanilla QB run game, the whole nine. I said, man, we'll see some wrinkles. Then we play Auburn and it looks different again. By the way, we don't deploy the QB run game. There aren't very many wrinkles over and beyond what we had already done. Guys make plays, and I think you're right. In the second half, we execute when they take the lead. Those last two drives, we execute quick game, short passing game, junk routes. Right, they're in zone, find the open area, sit in the window, get big, get upfield, get yards. And again, that's kind of it's like, okay, we putting some skins on the wall, right? We got grit, we got comeback, we got dudes who can make plays in SEC caliber games. So it kind of goes back in the back of my brain again because I'm like, oh, Materia made it happen. Satania stepped up, right? Whatever it was, guys made plays when they needed to make plays. Canic, right? Guys are doing what they need to do. Then we play Kent State. Materia's got the thumb. You guys hear me? I'm like, I'm Team Materia. No quarterback controversy. We play Kent State, and leaving the game, again, go listen to our post-game pod. And there's just one thing that I said to Barry. I said, Barry, it didn't look like the offense. What offense were we running? That makes sense to you guys? I'm watching Hawkins. And so, guys, by definition, your two should essentially be running a condensed version of your stuff, right? If we run a dive, a power, a counter, and some type of outside zone, those are our staple run plays, right? Our starting quarterback can run the wrinkles, the bounce back, the reverse pass, right? The wrinkles off of our stuff. The two should run our stuff. QB draw, QB lead, right? QB counter, all of that stuff should look the same. And so I said to myself, I said, well, we ran some draw and counter or whatever you want to call it, but it didn't look like how it looked when Mateer ran it. The track, the timing, right? The blocking. It didn't look as if Hawkins was running a condensed version of the stuff Mateer ran against Michigan, and obviously not against Auburn. We didn't even really, it wasn't successful. Auburn looked like Texas in a lot of respects, right? The QB run we tried to run against Auburn was very minimal, but ineffective, and obviously Texas extremely ineffective. And I'm getting there. I know. Let me just kind of paint this for you guys. I want you guys to understand my context, right? I'm watching Kent State, and I say it on the pod, but after the pod, I go to Barry and I say, Barry, I still don't know who we are. Are we spread? Are we throw the ball 50 times a game? Are we QB run game? Are we gap assignment, outside zone, inside zone? Like, are we RPO? Are we committed to the RPO? Like, what are we? And Barry was like, I don't know. I said, the good thing is we've got Texas. It's a rivalry game. The pressure is on Arch. So Mateer will get to come back and the pressure will be elsewhere, right? And we're good enough to beat them. The defense can hold, Man, was I wrong. Man, was I wrong. Again, do we have O-line issues? Name a game we haven't had O-line issues in 25 weeks. So some of you guys are saying, well, Mackie, that validates BV. BV's the CEO. He's running the program. He's making a ton of money. I love him to death. You're right. That's not my angle, though. I'm not trying to allude indirectly that BV is doing something wrong, but he's responsible for the meal being cooked. So I understand that notion. Some of you are saying, see, this validates Beating Bow. And again, I actually like Beating Bow a lot. When I'm in town, we talk, and or when I'm on campus or whatever. I think he has earned in his past practice. I'm not going again. I'm not here to, you know, I don't know, make excuses. He's done enough in his past to justify why he's here. He needs to produce now. No question. I know you guys heard that I'm on my wooden desk today. I'm in Dallas. Okay. Facts. I think people understand where I'm at with DeMarco. Sooner, love him. What the hell are they doing for the last 3 years? I don't know. The best running backs we've had are gone playing well for other teams. Right. And we'll just leave it there. Here's my question. Last year was probably the worst offensive game plan we've had since I was a true freshman, or I was redshirting, and Joe Dickinson was the OC. I apologize for saying his name. I mean, but those who know. And that offense was terrible. It was terrible. And of course, last year we had a lot of things happen between injuries, between personnel, between lack of depth of playbook, just a lot of things. They call it a calamity of errors, 100% with you. What do? We say, man, our quarterback sees ghosts. If you know, you know, right? And our offensive game plan is probably JV caliber, maybe a decent varsity team, sophomore, Oklahoma, you know, Lake Ridge, Mansfield, right? If you're in Texas, definitely not OU. What do? BV says, hey, I'm the CEO. I am going to go bring in an offensive specialist who has credentials and experience in revamping programs, overachieving with inferior talent, taking quarterbacks and making them potential Heisman contenders, right? By the way, he literally did it. And we all got excited. And I said, okay, let me dive into his film. I said, oh, he's got some bones of what we used to do. Oh, look at this. He's got the QB run game. Oh, look at that. Some action stuff. The quarterback's turning their back to the defense. Right. I'm looking and seeing like, okay, right. Totally different than the stuff we did with Levy and that whole deal. And also not what I know inside and out, which is leeches and link stuff. Right. I can watch a game and say, oh, I know that play. Oh, I know that play. Right. I could do that for 20 years. Different. When we play Texas, well, let me stay on this stage first. Let's take another 5 minutes of the biting of this aspect of the apple. Okay, watch this. We got 81 people on live. OU has the ball. No. That's not the way I want to ask it. OU's offensive talent based upon 2025 production. Texas's offensive talent based upon 2025 production. So we're going battle. Arch versus Mateer. Before the game starts, answer who are you taking in the OU Texas game? If you've got Arch on one side based upon what he's done this season, and you've got Mateer on the other side based upon what he's done this season, put it in the comments. Who you taking? Mateer. Right? You guys ready? OU's offensive line, Texas, but I don't know what you guys are going to say here. OU's offensive line based upon what they've done this year, Texas's offensive line based upon what they've done this year, their respective opponents. You taking OU's O-line with our woes and issues, or you taking Texas's O-line with some of the stuff they've been through? Texas is going into that game, what, 3-2? OU's going into that game 5-1. Which group are you taking? You taking OU's O-line, or you taking Texas's? Which one are you taking? Oh, this one's kind of like it's a hard one, right? By the way, I don't think there's any wrong answer. I would take OU's O-line based upon the fact that they made it happen when they needed to, and based upon the fact I've seen Texas's O-line get dominated in a way I haven't seen OU's O-line get dominated by a different opponent. That's You could pick who you want to take. Okay, last one. OU skill versus Texas skill based upon production. Again, that's a tough one, right? Wisner, Blaylock. Kind of a push. Maybe Blaylock, younger guy, higher ceiling. I don't know, right? Then you've got like their tight end. They got a decent tight end, Canick. Then you've got our trio of receivers, their trio of receivers. I would say it's close to a push. This is probably the area where I would err on probably Texas, Wingo and Moore and Livingstock, whatever the kid's name at 13. Their little slot receiver guy. They've got a good group. I don't think our group is worse than theirs, but I don't know for sure that our group is better than yours. Yeah, right. If someone picked Texas, I wouldn't hate. That's the group I would be most likely to lean towards Texas on the offensive side is their skill. And running backs is probably closer to a push, or maybe I take Blaylock and X Rob, right? But receivers, it's closer to I'd take Texas, even though I like our guys. Mikey, what's the point? I believe if we take our same players, performance, ceiling, and deploy Sark to run his scheme for us, including Arch and their O-line that's been decimated. Okay. And we take our players, including Mateer and our receivers and scheme, and we move them to be Sark's players running his stuff. Sark beats us with the exact opposite players. And if it took you long to understand where I'm getting to, coaching matters, scheme matters, understanding of building and developing an actual plan matters. We are 6 games into our season, and I study offense. My best friends are head coaches, coordinators, pro coaches, and we talk ball. We talk players, we talk schemes, we talk tendencies, we talk rule breakers, we talk lingo, we talk jargon, and I'm talking about a lot. By the way, I'm going to speak on BV side too, because Sark impacts offense and defense. I'm going to explain to you how he impacts offense and defense. But anyway, back to the point. Texas, let's start with OU. I'm a Sooner, damn it. OU gets the ball. By the way, we have a little bit of success. Our first drive. Oh, somebody's trying to call me. OU gets the ball. We run our stuff. And you know what I noticed very early in the game? We got some tough guys. Mateer is fitting it in there, right? Like we got guys that are, oh, by the way, we have some easy drops. Canick drops a ball, I think the very first play of the game. Satania has a drop. One of his is a turnover. But needless to say, I don't leave that game saying, oh, the guys didn't play hard. I don't believe that, including the offensive line, including the running backs. Because I think part of playing hard is playing smart. And I think part of playing smart is knowing what you're doing. And I think part of knowing what you're doing is repping who you are. And I think repping who you are is being clear on your plan. And that is the genesis of my concern with what I've seen thus far with Arbuckle's offense. Who are we? Texas. Very first play of the game. You know what they run? Action away, tight end screen. We would call it lion. We'd call it action right lion. Very short, concise, easy. But do you know what Sark did the very first play of the game? The very first play of the game, Sark said, you might have a defensive advantage, but I'm going to misdirect you. And you know, in years past, when you guys over pursued, we killed you. Your guys are not going to be able to pin their ears back. Very first play of the game, Sark says to BB, you will not pin your ears back. Here's what he also said. And again, offense impacts defense. He also said, you will not confuse my quarterback pre-snap. It's exactly what he said by that play. That play made it very clear the entirety of the game. Texas is going to show eye candy. Texas is going to go one way. They'll go the other way. Texas is going to run quick game. Texas is not going to let Arch Manning sit back there and be a snack. Whether they could run, pass, anything else, we have, you know what they have? A plan. They had an identity for the game. And that identity, as they began to deploy it by the third quarter, they're in pistol. They probably were in it some in the second quarter too, but it was very clearly apparent in the pistol. It's very key because as you build a plan, guess what happens? Key moment in the game. They've been running pistol power, pistol dive, right? Whatever hole they're running to, gap assignment they're running to. I'm not trying to get too analytical amongst that, but you know what they did finally? Because they built up a plan for the game. You damn right that quarterback pulled it. And when they needed to get that last third down, they had a plan in place. Arch pulls it out of his belly, goes for about 17 yards, slides, game's over. Now, opposite side of the ball. Name one time in the game. Name one time in a previous game where some methodology we used set us up to have an advantage against Texas. You guys ready? Let's again, my objective today is to simplify things so that we can understand football as a chess match or the game within the game, and then football, which is the physicality, the Joes and the Jimmies and the X's and the O's. Okay, so we're going to do both. Check me out. I would say three staples of our offense that I have seen just based upon frequency, game distribution, and I would say, well, success has started to diminish, but success. Okay, those three metrics, right? Here's what I would say. I'd call QB gun, Z motion, jet sweep a staple. Can we all agree we've seen that pretty much every game we've played? Then I'd say some type of no, here's what I'd say. I'd say gun trips, we'd call it flip or early. So we're in gun. Trips means three receivers to one side, right? Left side for us would be flip, right side would be early, but we'll just call it bunch. Okay. Gun, trips, bunch, either F motion screen. Three guys are blocking for the F. We're trying to out leverage the outside backer or the overhang, or just bunch uncovered screen. We've seen it a ton, right? We line up in bunch. I wish I had my whiteboard. I think I'll have it by this week. We line up in bunch, snap of the ball, quarterback. If it's 2v3, we block 2-on-3, we run up the sideline, or we cut it up and go inside, whatever the case. But I would say that's also a staple. And then third staple, just to keep it nice and easy, I'd say ace open, QB draw, or ace open, F draw, F lead. F power, whichever one. Power, the guards pulling, draw, we're holding it for a step, lead, the running backs leading, the quarterbacks going behind them. Okay. Whatever the case may be, can we all agree that those are three staples? We saw them in Illy, we saw them in Michigan, we saw them in Temple, we saw them in Auburn, we saw them in Kent State. I'm going somewhere with this. Can we all agree that those are three staples that we have, right, deployed as a part? Like I would say those are part of the bones of Arbuckle's offense. Where's the depth? Where's the ace open, jet motion, jet sweep, fake pop pass? Ace open, jet motion, jet sweep, same pass, same side power. Jet sweep, counter. Jet sweep right, counter left. Where? Have any of you guys seen it? I have not seen us run jet sweep and then a pass off of it showing the ball, quick pop, or jet sweep, get the defense pursuing the jet sweep and then you run same side power, or get the defense pursuing the jet sweep and then you run counter the other way, or get the team running the jet sweep and then you run a screen the other way. I've never seen it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen us run trips, bunch, fake screen, ram the other direction. Or how about Fox? Pump the screen, throw the pass to the guy who's supposed to be blocking. Or how about line up in it, show the screen, draw backside A gap. Have you seen it? Like I'm not even worrying about the success rate. You feel me? Like I'm not. My point is, and I'm gonna get to the bigger point. My point is, when we're in OU Texas week, we have already watched Texas 2 or 3 weeks. I imagine BV does the same. I have not talked to the guys. I don't much talk to the guys anymore. They got a job to do. And obviously I do a podcast now, so I don't want to create any rifts. So I don't. But we watch film with the intention of saying, hey, What's the probability when their defense lines up in a 30 front and 2 deep shell, they're going to run this? A 40 front with a sniffer, they're going to blitz. A 40 front with a nickel, they're going to play man under, right? Like the whole idea of watching practice all week is to gain, like, is it 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%? Or I know, oh, they line up in this, I know they doing that. Like that's a big part of the game within the game. Are you guys with me? You guys understand what I'm saying? Because my point is, when we run jet sweep, imagine it's week 5 and they're watching film. They watched Illy State, they watched Kent State, they watched Michigan. Like, hey, coach, they don't got no jet action sweep the other way, coach. They don't got no jet action screen the other way, coach. They don't got no jet action same side power underneath all the flow, coach. Oh, pin your ears back. Hey. But guys, they might be holding something back for us. So, right? Don't just blow your wad. One of the terms one of my coaches use, blow your wad, right? Don't just blow your wad, right? Read your keys, because you never know. They might do something different. Does that make sense, everybody? I watch the games and I'm like, oh, okay, we running jet action because we're gonna have this coming down the pipe, this coming down the road, this week 3, week 5. Hey, week 3, we're gonna show same side power. Week 5, we're gonna show bend back. Week 7, we're gonna throw a screen off of it. That's how you build a playbook, right? And that's just one play. And I'm picking plays that we've all seen us run consistently all year. I'm not saying they're not in the playbook. I'm saying I haven't seen it. Now watch this. You guys ready? Sark did the exact opposite play one. Play one. Sark said, I know y'all think we suck. We might suck, but your team ain't gonna get to pin their ears back, because we're gonna show you eye candy play one. And we're gonna go misdirection, tight end, backside. And you know what happened to play one on our defense? Our guy said, we can't pull and pin our ears back. So imagine a game. Imagine a game. Our first possession, their defense is like, okay, they're generally running things that we watched on film, right? Read your keys and then go. And then our defense says, I mean, I think I even put it in my pre-pod or the midweek, whatever we did. I said Texas can win if they do misdirection. So there's no secret Sark's offense is gonna provide misdirection. But do you guys know why they do misdirection? Misdirection is designed to make you think. So you can't just react. So you can't just pin your ears back, because Texas did a self-study on the Florida game and said, oh man, we got our tails kicked when Florida could just pin their ears back. Sark was seeing ghosts. Excuse me, Arch was seeing ghosts. So Sark says, we ain't doing that. We need OU to know early they cannot just, right, be a pack of rabid wolves going after our quarterback, because if that happens, he loses confidence, he loses his technique, he's throwing a bit, his mechanics break down, and now the ball goes to the other team. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Doesn't that kind of sound like our quarterback on Saturday? You know why? Back to the offensive coordinator, because our offense didn't show Texas anything different than what they had seen on film, what I had seen on film, and they were able to pin their ears back. Our defense was immediately reminded, I dare you to over pursue. Over pursue. I double dog dare you. Because if you do, you're going to get burned. And what happened? As the game progressed, Texas is getting more momentum. Creases are starting to open. Lanes are becoming available. Our defense, you can see it. How many of you guys know this is the first game where the defense didn't just look like they're wanting to dominate? Even against Michigan, we had a breakdown, 75-yarders, right? Auburn, it was literally the only thing they could do is we were all up. We're going to go 1v1. Our defense still dominated. Texas game, our defense looked like they were more on their heels than Texas's defense. And I believe it's I mean, I don't want to speak in totalities. It's not binary. Again, hopefully you guys heard at the beginning where I talk about position groups and coaching and things of those natures as it relates to that stuff, because those are all issues, right? We got to talk about talent level, but you can't talk about talent level week 6. It's not like the portal is going to bring us a player like the trade deadline would in the NFL. We don't have that option. So I don't want to hear, oh, this running back sucks. This low. I don't want to hear it. In August, we lined up to play with the linemen we had. In August, we lined up to play with the running backs we had. Now the game is to be played with the chips we were dealt till January, and then the portal will come, and then we can argue about our cheapness with recruits, right? All that other stuff we could argue about. Right now, we got to talk football, and in a game like that, those type of games boil down to preparation and scheme. Of course, I'm speaking my opinion. Of course there are other people with their own opinions, and their opinions could have legitimacy, and I could be 100% wrong, but this is the way I broke the game down, only because like I played in the game, and it's generally even matched, guys. Even when we lost in 99, it wasn't because they were hella better than us, and no, it wasn't. I mean, they had some guys, but so did we. The same guys we won a natty with damn near the next year. When we beat them in 2000, they didn't all of a sudden suck. They didn't all of a sudden just like turn into the worst team in America. And when we beat them like 7 out of 9 years, they were little bro. We every October we knew we was coming into that game with a competitive advantage. So like the whole, oh, our players suck. Yeah, there's probably 30% of our guys that they recruit and 70% of their guys that we recruit. But what's the difference between a Texas and an OU caliber starter? The NFL doesn't say there's a big difference. The national awards doesn't say there's a big difference. Does that make sense? Like, so like that whole part, I hear it, I listen to it, I watch the game anecdotally, I get it. But football is a smart man's game. Football is chess, right? The checker pieces is a Cam Johnson, is that his name, versus the true puppy we have, Guillory. That's a checkers piece, and you can always go back to it. And you want to have those pieces. So I'm definitely not diminishing that. But like that game we saw, Wisner didn't get great. You know what happened? Our backers weren't 100% sure. Our D linemen weren't 100% sure. Our safeties weren't 100% sure where the ball was going after the snap of the ball. So naturally, there's just that little air, that little crease, that little indecision. Who has the ball? Where is it? Right? It's an arm tackle versus a thud. Go back and watch our side. Find the play where it looks like Texas is thinking instead of reacting. Find it. I want to speak to a play that's floating around Twitter. Keegan posted it, by the way. Sharp guy, super respect for him. He's phenomenal with the analysis. He shows a play that says, it essentially says, Arbuckle was cooking, Mateer missed, and guys wide open, right? And if you look at the play, it's facts. They're in a cover 2 shell pre-snap. They roll down to 3. One of the backside safeties is robbing. We run 4 verts. It's really 4 verts. The seam routes are running a skinny post, trying to run away from people. The corners are trying to take safeties up, beat the outside cover 2 corner, and make the safeties have to go cover sideline to sideline. All right. I see the play. I know the play. By the way, huge discussion about it on OU Insider. But you have to talk about that play in context. You have to talk about that play in context. Number one, and there's 2 things that I don't. To me, this is not a discredit to Keegan. Keegan's doing what he has to do, and so salute to him. But during the game, if you watch the line tell me the type of set. If they're doing a 3-step kick step, it's drop back. If they're doing a short set, it's quick game. Go watch the play. It's quick game. By the way, 6 verts, it's a quick game. It's a quick game play. You pre-snap, pick the side you're going to pick to, and then you have reach, right? But on the play, and then I'm going to make a connecting dot here. Going to go back to coaching, of course. But on the play, we run the 4 verts, and you can clearly see Mateer picks the XH side. All right, so he picks the top half of the play pre-snap. And if you watch before the snap of the ball, they're in a 2 shell. So there isn't a like giveaway. If you're looking at the feet of the safety from the all 22 view, By the way, he's also flexing that he has an all 22. So salute to him for that, because definitely everybody doesn't have the purview he has. But if you watch it from there, the safeties are 1 yard discrepancy between their depth. So it's not like there's 3 yards or, you know what I mean? It's a shell. It looks like a cover two. When the ball is snapped, my next thing my eyeballs go to are the linemen. Our linemen quick set. Okay, it's quick game. Why do I do that? Because quick game is not progression, meaning you don't read left to right or right to left. Quick game means you pick a side. So it's clear to me, based upon the offensive line set and based upon what Mateer does, he picks a side. He picks the XH side. That's in context of how the play is designed. The play is not designed to look one way and then be like, oh, let me look the other way. That would be drop back. And if they were dropping back, the line would be setting different, right? So what does he do? He sees the safety stays high on that side. His head is immediately snaps to the seam route. And what does he see? He sees Satania or whoever it is at H running a bend. He's running the seam, but because the safety's robbing, he has to get underneath it. Right. So it kind of turns into like an over, not a slant per se, but like a drag kind of. He's running kind of an in-cut drag. And we miss it. Whatever happens, happens. The point is on Twitter, right? When you look at it, you're like, yeah, but look at the other side. It's wide open. And it is. By the way, it's literally a touchdown if Mateer chooses that side. I believe he chooses that side, it's a touchdown. But now I want to add the second piece, which is the actual game it's within itself, right? Because you guys ready? That exact same concept is what we run in the second quarter when Mateer throws his interception. And you guys ready for the crazy part? He picks the other side. If you guys remember, second quarter, we're running 4 verts or something very close to it. Satania's running up the seam wide open. What side of the field is he on? He's on the left. What type of set are we in? We're in a quick set. What does Mateer do? He chooses the right. And then that turns into, I think it's Muhammad's first interception. The point is, in the game, it's very conceivable that they went to the sideline and Satania and probably even Arbuckle are saying, yo, the other side is open. Look that way. Which is why when you see the play on Twitter, he looks to the left. Does that make sense? And so what that all boils down to is 2 things. It's scheme and it's adjustments. See, when we would run our stuff, if we saw if it's Leach, it could have been Leach, it could have been Spur, it could have been Long, it could have been Mangino, it could have been Gundy. Generally not Hayes, but Hayes probably even too. Right. And I'm saying because Leach was there 1 year, and then obviously Mangino was there the rest of my years before Kevin Wilson, excuse me, comes. He actually came like 0102, but became a prominent offensive coach a couple years later. Tags. So everyone wants to say Mateer missed the throw. The way I look at it is coach called a good play, but in context, we didn't have a clear tag or prediction. And so the quarterback picked the side he picked. Guys, if I break down film, there's 6 or 7 plays a game where somebody breaks free. Right? The problem is you have to be able to find the play against the defense and predict the stunt, predict the coverage, and the man on the man you want to win, right? That's the game within the game. We didn't have enough data to know which way to go. Mateer picked the right side his first time, probably because he's right-handed. I don't have a better reason, but probably because he's right-handed. And when he went to the right side, he throws a ball, a 50-50 ball. Muhammad catches it. They go to the sideline. Satania says, hey, man, I was open. They go back to it later in the game. What does Mateer do? He picks the side that, right, the adjustment was made. The OC, who has the defense on their heels, creates opportunities to predict that. Again, go back to the pistol. They never once the entire game, not one time, the entire game showed Arch keeping on the power, the lead, whatever the hell they were running, some type of gap inside run scheme. That's an OC saying, I've got this play in the back of my back pocket that when we need it, Jimmy's and Joe's, 4 stars versus 5 stars, all that stuff notwithstanding, OU's in that key moment where they've got to make a play because this third down, if they got the first, they'd be close enough to kick a field goal. We'll put them up by 17, and there wasn't enough time on the clock for us to score 3 times. That play was the play. And in that moment, Sark wasn't waiting on let's do a 50-50, maybe. Sark wasn't like, I think this will work. Sark was setting that play up the entire time they were in pistol. Sark set the play up the first play of the game, where he told OU, you don't just get to pin your ears back. By the third quarter, Texas is literally just pinning their ears back. Hike ball, see ball, run to ball. Hike ball, pass route, cover up all the short windows, run the ball. 2 safeties high, sometimes roll to a robber. Guys, like, we never made them adjust one time. And when you look at the game from that context under those lenses, that's coaching. First, hell yeah, would I say, why didn't somebody catch the ball, make a guy miss, stiff arm somebody, score? Hell yeah, I could say, why didn't a running back run somebody over, shake somebody, draws in the hole, and then go 80? All of that is facts. Definitely not trying to discredit that. Definitely not trying to discount that. Why can't the O-line, maybe it's we only could do quick sets because they're not good enough to do drop back. Like, that's all stuff that you might have some validity and truth behind too. I'm definitely not discounting that. But in the context of the game we played in and the way the game was being uncovered, when it comes down to the chess master versus the chess master, like we had the rookie. We had the rookie, right? And again, like, people say, oh, go look at the play, go look at, like, we could look at the plays and then we could say what was the methodology of the play. Right? Like, trust me, actually, I feel like I should have scored 10 more touchdowns because there were plays I was wide open. And in practice, sometimes I would get the ball. But in the context of the play, coach is either telling him to look a certain way, the defense is instigating how I'm supposed to respond to a route. There are times I'm supposed to run a curl, and before I get to the top of my route, the ball's out because they blitz, and now quarterback went hot. So all of those things, I'm not discounting those things. What I am saying is, as the OC, okay, let's say the OC was seeing it, it was not communicated well to Mateer to execute it. That's still, it's not like Mateer was Hawkins and we were like, oh, brain fart. He's been in this offense forever. So if Arbuckle says, hey man, they're doing this and we know we're supposed to pivot here, right? If I see Mateer throwing, it's the right play, but he misses them or whatever, like, okay, but like, there wasn't a rhyme or reason, a consistent one that made it evident to us of what the coaching was telling him to do. I heard BB show and I heard BB said we played good enough to win and we didn't make the plays we needed to make. And I definitely agree with that too. I definitely agree with that. I guess my point just stems back to this. In relation to where we were last year and what we were expecting to see in terms of an offensive specialist coming in to revive our offense so that it could match the championship caliber of defense we have, I don't even know what our identity is. Somebody go in the comments and say, Mackie, we want to throw the ball short, misdirection. By the way, that's what Sark deployed on Saturday, right? Quick passes, misdirection, play the edges, make plays, make plays in space, and the occasional quick hitter to keep us honest. That like, it was clear to me first quarter, that's what Texas aim was. What was OU's aim? What were we doing? Right? Like, somebody, I haven't read the comments. My apologies. I see there's hella comments. My bad, y'all. 140 people. I don't know it. And I have been saying I don't know it since after Michigan. At Michigan, I was like, oh, I love the offense. Our quarterback is going to kill people because light box, we're going to lead with a running back. Quarterback's going to be pretty free. So long as we get a hat on a hat, the running back can clean it up. Mateer can make people miss. He has that moxie. I felt good about that. I felt good about that, right? Then I see Temple, and I'm like, we didn't really kind of solidify what we're good at, and then there's some inaccuracies. And then there's Auburn, which was the one. Like, we didn't run nothing. We ran against Michigan. What do we do? I was like, Barry, we won, but I don't. And then it's Kent State. It's like, okay, Kent State, the backup has to just run the basic stuff, the stuff they rep every week in practice. We're gonna see it. And I was like, that looked different. Like, why his QB draw look different than the other one? Why he? I don't. What play is that? The players are playing. They wear the jerseys that says Oklahoma. I wore the one that said Oklahoma, right? Trust me, it was important to me, and I know it's important to them. And I think in the same vein, Arbuckle is the OC who's had some experience, who's had some success, who's built some quarterbacks, who's young and vibrant. But I just think there's levels to this. And over the course of a game, if you guys watched Sunday Night Football last night, and I'm sorry, but this is just validating for me. It just made me smile because if you guys watched that game and the head coach of the Lions, I forgot his name. He was a Giant. I think he played for the Giants and the Cowboys. Dan Campbell, I believe is his name. Campbell, I believe is his name. If you guys listen to the game, he says something that Bob used to say to us. And I used to always get flack from people. I'm like, if you play the game, you understand what he means. But he said, this is what he said, and Bob used to always say it. He said, hey guys, when you're playing an evenly matched game, the game generally boils down to 5 or 6 plays. And whoever makes those plays wins the game. And Campbell, he's coming in from half, and the lady's asking him, hey, such and such, such and such. And he says, yeah, the 2 or 3 plays in the first half, we didn't make them. We've got to have those. In the second half, if we make the 2 to 3 plays, we'll win the game. And of course, right, Kansas City dominates the second half. But what he's saying is when you have an evenly matched game, there's 2 or 3 plays a half, guys. That makes all the difference. All of the everything else, right? The superficial, the couch quarterback, the JV coach, I'm not trying to discredit folk, but like everybody knows our offensive line is not 2017. Everybody knows we don't have a Tyree Walker in the backfield. The puppies are the puppies. I always give puppies grace. But the game you're playing right now, to the point of some of the people talking about the plays we missed, how well can your OC articulate or predict when the play is going to be available so that we know to hit it? Just because we saw it, we don't know if Arbuckle told him, hey, bro, just hit the flat. And the play plays out. But like that whole aspect of the game is a part of the game. The OC's job as a specialist, cleaning the slate, wiping the board, bringing his quarterback, you know what I'm saying, having the free reign to do his stuff so BV can concentrate on defense. You've got to deliver. And at OU, we can't give you chances. We can't do what's that called when you're golfing and a mulligan. I'm not giving Buddy a mulligan. And by the way, I'm an offensive guy. Of course, I'm an Arbuckle fan. I was hella juiced about Arbuckle. He throws a lot of short stuff. He lets us, but I also got to hold you accountable, my G, because this interlocked OU where I went to school and gave up my body and got my education and has helped me in life to become an entrepreneur. It means something to me. I'm sure it means something to you, but we can't let this be a long-term deal. I don't like losing to Texas 3 of the last 4 years. I don't like not scoring a TD since DG's been here. I think Nick Anderson scored the last TD for OU, if I'm not mistaken. I don't like that. And when and God gave me this platform, me and Barry this platform, I'm not going to lie. You feel me? Like, I'm also not going to, I do my best to not throw people under the bus. Kanik was a guy that I was hard on when he was on defense. I have a lot of love for Kanik now. How about this? How about this? Barnes is a guy I was hard on, and all of a sudden we don't see him. Did you guys notice we haven't seen Barnes in a couple weeks? Anybody notice that? Was I a jerk 2 years ago when I was saying, oh, I don't know about this? Was I a jerk a year ago when I was like, Kanik probably? I feel like our coach has found, whatever, right? Whatever the case may be for those individual players to do with it. Man, y'all cussing in the chat. What's going on? We are. If they're talking smack about me, I don't even see it. I'm locked in on what I got to say. But anyway, I'll do quick grades just because I am accustomed to doing grades. I mean, obviously, worst quarterbacking game of the year. I think it's fair to ask, was it worth him? You see how much blood he was losing? Was it worth having that type of I mean, guys, he might need to miss more time now. And you know what? One of my big bros, Sparky, man, he's a Sooner alumni, play ball. He's texting me like, DMack, I don't think Mateer should play. And I'm like, nah, the procedure says if you don't have inflammation and he should be good. Sparky was like, I think he should sit. And of course, not only did he not play well, he clearly has some type of, you know, injury there that might require him to miss more time. And so obviously at the quarterback position, it was a failing grade. I mean, you pick a 59 or a 15, 3 interceptions, no TDs, critical interception at the half, critical interception up in the plus territory or close to plus territory where we really could have taken the momentum early in that game and put them in a really bad situation where they're one-dimensional. Those hurt us. The running back position was inconsequential, guys. I mean, again, the grade doesn't really matter. I think the one thing that was interesting was X Rob was making a little something out of something. And of course, I think he has a bum shoulder, an AC or something. He's holding his shoulder 5 or 6 carries in. But I just think, again, I don't think it was appropriate for us to see a consistent dosage of X Rob in Texas. You feel me? Like just if I'm the OC and I know I got that skill set that is so much different than the other players, that's a guy, even if listen, before Q became the starter, he had a package because he was playing so well. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I had a better week than practice than Josh Norman, they still had Josh Norman plays. If Josh kicked my ass in practice, there were DMack plays. Like there was a package to make sure I was invested in the team week to week. It just makes sense. It makes sense. And for X Rob to get his first, I mean, I don't think he had 5 carries the last 3 weeks. Right? To me, that's mismanagement of talent, especially with him being so much different than what the other guys bring to the table. Um, but whatever. I think the grades inconsequential. I think it's interesting at the tight end position. We're asking Canick to have. I get it, right? We're trying to make it not as noticeable that if he's in, it's probably a pass play or a gadget play or something. We're trying to make it where teams have to play honest if Kennick's in because he's a viable mismatch in the pass game. But man, he also has to be able to block his position. You've got to be able to be a value add when you're in there and the play's not designed for you or it's not a just 100% pass. And so again, not a great day for that position group. The receiver group made some tough plays. The receiver group was not responsible for them. Listen, I don't want someone said he can't block at all. I don't want to discount the fact that there were plays they were open and we didn't hit them. And there is a part of me that says Mateer is responsible. So again, this is not a binary issue. I just wanted to speak to an area that I didn't hear enough people speaking about. And if you guys have heard me, I've been doing this for 10 years. I used to do it on the old Rivals. I didn't pod it until 3 years ago or 2 seasons ago. This is my 3rd season. But I am a guy who puts it on the players. I'm a player's guy because when I played and I sucked, damn it, I couldn't blame nobody. When I played well, we better win. And I meaning me, and then I meaning the team. Like we knew Coach Bob and BV and all those guys could only prepare us. We had to go out there and play ball. So I am always just very aware of that expectation of a player. But I'm just also telling you, like, you ready? 2000 season. 2000 season. You have OU, Texas, K-State, Nebraska, Florida State. Number the talent from 1 to 6. I think that's 6, right? OU, Texas, K-State, Nebraska, FSU. That's 5 teams. Okay, that's 5 teams. Rank the talent. You guys ready? I think every position group have more talent than our 2000 team did. Maybe quarterback, right? But that's revisionist theory. Going into the 2000 season, no one takes Heupel over Crouch. No one takes Heupel over Beasley. No one takes Heupel over Winky. We take Heupel over whoever A&M had. I forgot. Whoever A&M had, yeah. We take him. And they had a decent quarterback, but he wasn't Hype's level. He threw a lot of interceptions and was a volume thrower, and he didn't have a lot of zip. Crouch was the best since Tommy Frazier at running the option. Beasley was more efficient than Michael Bishop, and not equally as athletic, but dangerous. And Winky was the 27-year-old, you know what I'm saying? Like, god dang, everybody's grandpa who was a precision point blank quarterback. You know what the difference was? We put pressure on other teams' defenses that they didn't see outside of us. Coaching. It was coaching. And I listen, you ain't never heard me say we were the most talented team, especially on offense. But god dang, it was tough. And we learned how to do our job, and we learned how to do it well. That makes sense. So that's the part of the game where I'm like, if it was just talent, then the most talented team would just always win. No, there's a part of the game where the game above your shoulders. It's a part of the game with a game of preparation. That part of the game, you gotta. By the way, it's the difference between Dolby jumps the front of the goal line. By the way, Moore is my goddaughter's twin brother. And that, well, he's not twin brother, Siamese twins or whatever they call that. Yeah, my goddaughter. By the way, she was supposed to be out. We were gonna link up. She didn't come. But Dolby jumps the goal line, and then Moore sneaks to the end line, and then he's wide open, right? And guess what? When you're playing goal line defense, guess what you're supposed to protect? The goal line. Because if they catch the ball in the 5 yards into the end zone, it doesn't matter if you hit them. It's a touchdown. So that whole thing is scheme. So what does that leave us? Because I'm not a doom and gloom guy. I wanted to speak facts today. By the way, I know the coaches are going to hear, whoever, people are going to hear this, and it is what it is. I'm just keeping it a buck with you guys. Oh, somebody said some part-time fan. I'm not even reading the chat. Whatever they saying, we'll get to that in a second. I'm going to open up for Q&A in a second. Guys, it's not the end of the world. Any given Saturday is a different Saturday, and this film is now available, and we're going to self-study, and we're going to forecast what the future opponents will do, and everybody doesn't have a defense like Texas, right? My biggest concern now, and again, I got to give my boy Sparky credit, is like, is Mature is he good? You know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm kind of like, I kind of want him to sit down and let Hawkins, if he's not healthy, the version we saw on Saturday ain't gonna win a lot of games. So I need to get reconciliation on that. What is the actual prognosis? Is it just a flesh wound that he just, you know what I'm saying? He just needs to put some peroxide and some second skin, whatever, and whatever. Okay. But if it's like, hey man, he had discomfort and it's gonna be leaky and this and that's an issue that I think we need to address. I believe there are lipstick on a pig fixes that we can do for the remaining of the season, the remainder of the season. What are 3 things Mackie would do? A lot of people have asked me, Mackie, what would you do? There's 3 things I would do, guys. The number one thing I would do is I've already said this. If you've listened to every pod we've ever done, you're gonna. I've already said we should do this because this is what we had to do in 01. The first thing I would do is I would scrap the run game and say, what are the? I'd have if I'm Arbuckle, if I'm BV, I meet with Arbuckle and I say, Arbuckle, listen, we suck at running the football. What we need to be able to do is find the 3 or 4 best schemes that our O linemen feel comfortable covering, knowing who to get. And we need to address those. And then I would add the caveat. And if you come with another mother sucking delay, slow people moving in the backfield horizontally, you in trouble. So when we do this new run scheme, it needs to be done in a fashion where we're pretty quick hitting, where we don't have to block guys or maintain blocks for a long period of time. Then I would take Arbuckle and with Beatembo, and the three of us with Kevin Wilson would meet and we'd say, okay, guys, listen, our guys clearly can't handle all of this. We need to figure out the 3 or 4 schemes. I'm going somewhere with this because I'm going to show you how to build a playbook, right? So let's say, okay, man, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do gap assignments. We're going to do on off. I'm literally taking you guys back to JV football. But if they're in a 40 front, who's the uncovered guard? We're going to dual block guard to linebacker, and maybe we still bring the wham just in case so that no one comes off the edge, right? Or we go double wide, whatever the case may be. I'm getting too nuanced for you guys, but I say we're going to run these. We're going to run a dive concept. We're going to run the dive RPO concept. We're going to run a zone concept, inside zone read concept, and we're going to run a pop off of both. Okay. And then we're going to have one edge concept, whether it's outside zone, toss, pitch. Like, I don't even care if it's just toss. You feel me? Like, but I would say those are our concepts. And the second thing I would do, I'll say, okay, we're going to formation and motion the hell out of people to those 3 concepts. We're going to run out. We're going to line up in bunch. We're going to pre-snap move to spread, and then we're going to motion the guy across the formation. We're going to run it. We're going to run hurry up the next time, or we're going to run it the next way. We're going to run up in 3x1 the next time. We're going to motion. We're going to do a orbit motion where we go back, past the center and back, and then we're going to run it again. And then here's what I want you guys to be able to do. I want you to be able to build a screen, an action pass, a quick game pass, and a trick play off of all 3 of those run schemes. And we're going to rep the shit out of that in practice. So we're going to have some type of dive quick hitter. We're going to have some type of inside zone. By the way, RPO off both. Dive pass, dive QB lead, whatever the case may be. Inside zone, 24 power, whether it's a gap or a zone type of a deal. We give, read, pop pass off of that, and then some outside zone. Guys, I don't think we need to try to run 9 different schemes. I think we need to run 3. Guys, we cannot scrap the run. Somebody said scrap it. Yeah, okay. Oh, you guys are talking about some stuff more specific. I don't believe we can just like, we're gonna throw the ball 50 times. By the way, Leach would try it, and Leach could probably execute it in his experience. But in the SEC for one, and with who we have as in leadership number for 2, we have to have some plays. We need some 2nd and 7s. The problem we have is we get to 2nd and 7, and then we try to do some laborious play instead of going for 3rd and 4. And then on 3rd and 4, we have the option to run or pass. And now the defense has to be more aware. They can't pin their ears back, because if they give up the first down, we get to start over again. We're putting ourselves in such bad situations on 2nd down, even after, I don't care if it's 2nd and 9. On 2nd and 9, you can't have 3rd and 9, but on 2nd and 6, you cannot have 3rd and 8. We're at 2nd and 6, and then we try to run the bunch screen, but they've got 3 or they've got 2 in an overhang. Like, no. So that would be number 1. Here's the second thing that I think is really important. All right, so we got the running scheme, right? 3 concepts. Window dress it with motion and things of that nature, and then have some type of screen, pass, action, and trick play off of that. All right, that's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do, and I just think I would do it the first play against South Carolina. And this week of practice, I'd say, hey, one-on-ones, everybody's got to run 2 fades a day. So on Tuesday, Wednesday practice, all my receiver, all my X and Z types would have to run a fade. I'd say a fade and a post. And I'd say, guys, whoever does the best, you're going to get 2 of these game time plays against South Carolina. And 2 times, potentially even the first play of the game, the same thing Sark did. Sark said, we do a misdirection. Pin your ears back if you want to. If I'm Arbuckle, first play against South Carolina, don't forget we can throw deep. I'm lining up in 3x1. I'm orbit motioning to the 2x2 and then coming back to the 3x1, and I'm telling the offensive line, I'm running back staying in. I'm telling my quarterback, look 1,000, 1,000 to the 3 receiver side, peak, no safety, throw. Guys, sometimes you just got to make the game simple. You don't believe me? Go watch Auburn. Go watch what Auburn did to us. That's literally what they did for Jackson. That made him look like a semi-competent quarterback on a couple of those connections with Cam, because that's exactly how they did it. And guess what they were able to do? Get over 100 yards in production on doing that play. And he missed 2 more touchdowns. Second thing I'm doing is I'm taking a couple shots and I'm just scheming it up pre-snap. I don't care if they're in 2, 4. I don't care what they're doing. Because here's the deal. We can line up in 3 by 1 and have the 3 receiver run right across the formation on an over route. That safety has to hang. The 2 receiver run right up the seam. That's the other safety has to cover it. And then the 3 or the outside receiver run the go route, and the corner has to take it. And if we see they're not honoring that, we go right back to it. That's the second thing I would do. Third thing I would do, and it's a little late to do it, I've said it a couple times, is I'd feature, I'd say, hey guys, we like this whole rotation thing a lot. I need a dog. Anybody want that number 1 spot? Talking about running back. And I'd say, hey, we need a running back that's going to get a feel for this line, so that when this line does what they do, the running back knows to just where to go. And I just think it's extremely important to have, if you have a line that isn't amazing, you want to have a running back who knows their tendencies, who knows their strengths, who knows their weaknesses. I think it's a detriment to our offensive output for the running backs to be rotating for no rhyme, for fairness, right? For democracy, I guess, right? Trying to create a democratic process where we all get a vote, we all get a share, we all get a turn. I don't know if that's socialism and democracy, whatever. I was a math teacher, not a history teacher or a civics teacher. Point is, I do think there's some merit to one of the running backs getting 70% of the snaps. And when he runs the inside zone, and when a lineman gets beat, he remembers, oh crap, last time they get beat, that left a void backside A gap. Let me stick my foot in the ground and see if that gap is there. Or, oh, this is how the backers are flowing. The backers are flowing slow. There's no cutback. Let me kind of stutter and then get to the edge. That's something you get in the feel of the game when you're getting the lion's share of the carries. As soon as you get a little bit of, right, as soon as you get a little bit of taste for the game, you're on the bench, and then the next guy's coming in, and now he doesn't really know either. I honestly think we should do that a little bit at backer too. I think it also revealed itself in the game when the game got tight. Guys coming in fresh, but not really having a very keen sense for how Wisner was running, and kind of how he was setting his stuff up. I think that made a little bit of a difference in them getting some more air when the backers who aren't necessarily, our backers didn't like get winded, and they had a couple long drives third quarter, but it's a scenario where you expect guys to step up versus arbitrary shuffling. Anyway, I've been on for an hour and 7 minutes. Whatever you wrote above, I'm not scrolling back up. There's like 5 million comments. Apparently some people were having some dialogue back and forth. If you have a question that I haven't addressed already, I'll stick around for 10 minutes. Post it in the chat, and if I don't see anything in 2 minutes, I'll wish you guys well and we'll jump off. But if I see some good questions, I'll address those questions before we move on to South Carolina. To me, this is now the biggest game of the season. Not even so much for like eligibility for bowl games, but just morale. We come back and beat South Carolina. Everybody says it's a blip on the radar. We struggle with those guys. You're looking at an FSU/Penn State type of possibility where, the sleepwalking continues for multiple games. Yep. Ken, why was RMT on the side? It's that whole arbitrary 22 starters thing, brother. Yep. I even brought it up, I think, against Michigan. There was a key Michigan series, and we had some of the 2B or 1B starters in, and I was like, I get it, but there are certain possessions where I just couldn't imagine. You know what I'm saying? It's the key play against Florida State or Okie State, that game we barely won to even get to the Big 12 championship, and Roy's on the sideline for Shelby. Shelby's my guy. Shelby was a good player. But like, you don't have Roy Lee on the sideline and Shelby's in on this key play. Democratic or not, this possession, we're going to switch it. And I don't know the real reason. Can we get you and Gabe? I tell you what, Gabe would handle them. Hey Gabe, I'm gonna draw some plays up. Give me some schemes. We would have to recruit our asses off too. So yeah, you know what? To be honest with you guys, to be very honest with you guys, to be very honest, I'll be back coaching in 2 years. I plan on selling my company in the next. This summer, I will be on some college camp circuits, kind of, you know, getting back into that side of the biz. So I'll be somewhere pretty soon. I'd love to come home, but you don't do that. Uh, who wants to break down film? Who said that? Bishop. Yeah, Bishop. I'd love to. They had you in green. Um, will Powers get some snaps finally? I'm biased. Plus 13. So love the suggestions. Is that Hog? Is that my big bro? Hog, make sure you tell Sparky I gave him props because he kept on texting me like, bruh, we should sit with tier. By the way, shout out to Sooner Ball Talk. You know what I'm saying? That's my family. Shout out to the also the football alumni group on Facebook. You guys are real ones too. Yeah, I like to show love to the community. Let's see. Why don't our receivers go up and get the ball? I think that we don't throw a lot of balls for them to go up and get. We throw a lot of in cuts, which I love. I'm an in cut guy. That was my bread and butter. However, we don't challenge on 1v1 deep balls very often, or we haven't of late, and I think we should. Or post routes. I don't know why we're not running a double post. Cover two beater, seam routes, double post. Cover two beater, seam route, double post. By the way, amongst other things, smash and flag, da 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 da. But like some plays that's easy for the quarterback to read. You read one dude, he goes high, you throw low. He goes low, you throw over the top. Your receivers know. It's an in rhythm throw. It doesn't take 4 seconds per se. If you get a clean release, it's a 3-second throw. Your line just needs to give you 2.8. Totally doable, and we never do it. Irks my soul. We'll throw the seam route, the seed, but we never throw the ball over top. I don't know why. Michael, I don't think they get enough chances. I saw somebody say Elijah Thomas should be a guy who just gets, they say he's a killer one-on-one guy. Again, I just believe, like I said, let's do one-on-ones Tuesday, Wednesday. Whoever's the best, whoever's on travel squad, you're the best. We're gonna throw 2 of those to you a game. I think that's something that just makes too much sense that I don't know why we don't. Yeah. Somebody said don't go to Tennessee. I am going to Tennessee, Alabama. Yeah. You know what's crazy? Do you know I get to go to those games and they pay for me to go and put me up in a hotel and the whole like that's crazy, right? Like if I go to a Tennessee game, it's like it's crazy. It's a totally different experience. They take good care of us. Seems what a material thing. Yeah, material played his best game, probably his worst game ever as a quarterback. I would be willing to guess. Definitely his worst game here with us. And I absolutely believe he shoulders the blame himself just because I think he's that type of leader. And again, I think there's merit to that. I don't care though. His OC needs to create more opportunities and clarity and indecision. Texas pinned their ears back and never were made not to. There was never a time where we punished them for pinning their ears. Never. We never ran a misdirection screen that worked. We never ran some type of play that we were predict what they were going to be in and got it, and we were able to execute. Nothing's easy. Where do we score easy? We don't have nothing easy, right? For years, OU made it look easy. And of course, we made it look easy for the other offense for a long time too. But yeah, O-line needs to step up. I believe in all that stuff. We gotta get Giovanni. I saw Giovanni kind of getting some, he was in, but I don't see them scheming anything up for players either. I guess they scheme stuff up for Satania, right? And Burks, them in cuts, right? Hey, windows against backers, but I don't see any type of scheming up for that X receiver outside where he generally gets a 1v1. Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense. Thank you for the breakdown. No problem. Do you think the Texas coaching staff was shocked? Yes. Hell yes. They never had to pivot off their plan A. Actually, you know what their pivot was? On the play that Keegan shows, or Reagan, I forgot his name is Keegan or Reagan, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. The data guy who has all the 22. By the way, he helped us a ton and in the old platform we're at. He's solid peoples, super, super, super good peoples. But if you notice on that play, they only bring two. The other two guys, two stand at the line of scrimmage in case Mateer decides he wants to type of some run. One of the backers spies right up at the line of scrimmage as well. And so I guess what they're trying to do is flush Mateer. The two guys who sit, once he spills, they go, right? And that's how they were able to get pressure. But guys, they were doing the Oklahoma State versus Josh Heupel from 2000 season, rush two, and everybody else just keeps their eye on the quarterback, right? Because we weren't a threat to throw deep. Go watch the play. It's literally all over Twitter. And it's the play where he's showing they're going from a shell to a cover three, cover one, kind of a matchup one. But the rush, it's really 2.5 guys. And then there's 2.5 guys spying Mateer. It's kind of crazy. Yep, the O-line is what it is. I agree. If we had a Link, oh, we'd be undefeated. By the way, I don't care what nobody says. Link with this exact same talent, we'd be balling. I'm so glad you brought that up. If we just had Lincoln Riley, same old line, same running backs, same receivers, and Mateer, we would be balling. I guarantee it for sure. Somebody, what year does Link have to suggest that wouldn't be the case? I don't know turnovers and but like, tell me the year when Link wouldn't have been able to put up 28. I think that's a phenomenal point. I think that's a very reasonable point that people will have to digest and be like, damn, there's no way Lincoln Riley is in that game and we don't score 28 points. There's no way Lincoln Riley is in that game and we don't punish them for just pinning their ears back. There's no way. Who made that comment? Aaron. Hell yes. That's, to me, that's the best analogy. That's the best analogy because that places it squarely on the leader. Same players. Again, give us Sark and give them Mateer. Or excuse me, Arbuckle. Sark would have took our guys and said, okay, guys, we kind of, I don't want to say we stink, but we have some challenges in these areas, but this is how we're going to get them. And when we get them here, it's going to set us up for this. And when you see this, we're going to be setting them up for that. For sure. Without question. I love that. Let's see. What changed the second half? Second half, they started spying. And so there was nowhere for Mateer to go. We didn't play them over the top. And then we threw the ball. They got the momentum and we were on our heels. Like the game was so close. It wasn't like it was at the beginning of the game. We had them on their heels. We just didn't score touchdowns. Right. And then we started giving them the ball. When they got the momentum, and this is going to suck to say, Sark made plays, Arch made plays, and Mateer gave plays away. That's the part where Mateer's got to hold it. You feel me? Like at the end of the day, Arbuckle wasn't throwing the ball either. And that's fair. That's hella fair. And Sark wasn't throwing the ball. And Arch was able to man, there's some plays where Arch is, and I don't want to give the kid too much credit. He's a Texas kid and Manning, but they've got him and he's kind of struggling. He throws a leading ball, right? He throws the receiver open. He throws it to the spot and the receiver runs to the ball. Like that's top shelf stuff, man. That you gotta give him credit for that. BB should be fired. Man, I just hate losing to those guys. Why did I read that out loud? I'm not there with you. I'm not there with you on that one. I get the joke, but I'm not there yet. If he needed to, I would say it, to be honest with you. And even though I got mad love for him. Yep, no inside run game. Agreed. Stop the run. Da, da, da. We definitely will be balling. Yes, if we had Link, we would be balling. We did, didn't we? We traded offense for defense. We definitely did. ROC is out of this league. I mean, guys, listen, I don't think we can only just encapsulate this with a snapshot. I believe Arbuckle will improve. Sharp guy. I believe he's going to watch the film and say, okay. The other thing that I didn't say is our two key secret weapons, which were no longer secrets, it was their first OU Texas. I don't think Arbuckle's ever been in a game like that. And I don't think Mateer's ever been in a game like that. I'm telling you, until you play in that game, you just don't understand. OU Texas is more special than any other game I played in. The K-State game 2000 was the loudest. The A&M game 2000 was wild. The national championship to me felt like it was 11-11. I could look up and see the crowd, and obviously Tiger Woods and Denzel Washington, they had whatever in the house, but like the game itself, the crowd wasn't really a factor. K-State in Manhattan was bananas. A&M in College Station was um, but OU Texas. It's like the fans are playing too. It's just, I just can't explain it. I can't explain why we keep bringing up Ott. I think he got a possession. Did he get more than one possession? I know he got a possession in the first half or early in the third quarter. Okay, Corey. See, why are we doing that? We lost our all-pro middle backer, our all-pro defensive end, our overpaid quarterback. I'm talking about the 49ers here. He made a funny comment about my Niners, but I'm always a Baker fan. If we're going to lose to somebody, it could always be Baker. I'm not mad at that. Yeah, we lost a lot of respect. I agree. Somebody said play the tall guys. I listen. We got to do something different, guys. It's been a great time with you guys today. An hour and 20 minutes. I feel like we got our money's worth. It's a new week. I didn't want this to linger on till Tuesday. In fact, if Barry and I don't pod tonight, we might just do a midweek report and kind of discuss the game because I don't want to be. We got a new game. We got a new team to beat, guys. We got to go play South Carolina. This is a big game. We win this game, the SEC still has to respect us. We're 2-1 in conference. That's a big, and it's a winnable game, and it's an away game. It's a new challenge for us. So we lost. I made my bones about Arbuckle. If he corrects that, I will be sure to let everybody see exactly what I mean by his corrections next week. If he doesn't, I will be sure to let everybody know it's still a concern for me. If we find a way to win, I'm going to congratulate the win, but speak to it. If we don't win, but he corrects some of those things, I'm going to speak to it. I always want to make sure I bring a purview and a lens to the game, like the way it's played, not the way it's watched, if that makes sense. And so if I don't do a good job, I apologize, but that's really the lens I try to come from. I didn't listen to any post-game pods. I don't know what Gabe and Teddy said. I don't know what the other folk who do pods say. I didn't even listen to like Pate and the rest of those guys. Yesterday I spent time with family at the fair. Saturday I was pissed. I actually had drinks. I don't really drink anymore. Yeah, the big question is, will Mateer even play? We may have a long-term or extended Hawkins, sightings. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I'm not going to ask anything. But yeah, man, I agree, Jimmy. Losing to Texas feels like 2 losses. The great thing is we've got a game coming up that matters. And so it's be a great opportunity for us to get back on the saddle. Be a great opportunity for BV and Co to get things straightened out. We got a dual threat quarterback, which is going to put us in some dicey situations. But I think they've got some injuries and some O-line stuff going too. So we've got to win and take care of our own business in order for us to be successful. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys for jumping on with me today. Have a pleasant week, and see you guys later on with pods, and then obviously checking out the South Carolina game. Take care.